Hello Superset Maniacs and welcome back to my channel. Today we're starting this new series on the channel in which we're gonna take our photoshopped mass monster Arnold and put him against the modern day mass monsters. And who would be more fitting to start this with than our current Mr. Olympia Big Ramy, who happens to be one of the biggest and heaviest Olympia winners of all time. If you want to see how Mass Monster Arnold was born, meaning if you want to see the in-depth video where I presented the photos I edited in Photoshop, the details I changed and so on, for the all 8 mandatory poses, check out the description of this video and you'll find the link to that respective video. Before we begin, let me mention that it's obvious this is only my imagination translated into Photoshop. We will never know how Arnold would have looked if he competed nowadays. This is only for pure entertainment. So without any further ado, let's begin with our first pose, the front double biceps. I will only show the edited photos for Arnold, the Mass Monster Arnold, so if you want to see the original ones and how I got to the final result, check out the description for the video I was telling you about earlier. Getting back to this pose, Arnold dominates upper body, he's got the bigger and better arms, the better lats, and he's taller and larger overall. Big Ramy obviously has the way bigger quads, even bigger than Arnold's photoshopped ones, and he also seems to be having the tighter midsection. In my opinion, if these two physiques would go against each other on a bodybuilding stage, Arnold would win because of the better guns, the better structure, and the better proportions. Next pose is the front lat spread. This is one of my favorite poses of Big Ramy. His wide frame, tight midsection in relation to the rest of his body of course, and his great X frame makes him one of the best of all time in this pose, and especially in this other variation that most of the people seem to be preferring. As of Arnold, I don't think he's got the structure to be great in this pose, and moreover, they weren't spreading the lats back then as much as today, so even with the enhanced muscles, Arnold still loses this pose against Ramy in my opinion. Up next is the side chest, and this is one of Ramy's best poses at the 2020 Mr. Olympia, especially because of the lower body, but also because of his great chest. But speaking of great chest development, nobody tops Arnold at this department regarding the era and without any Photoshop work. And because we're talking Photoshop to Mass Monster Arnold, he's got some shoulder and arm improvement, and most important, he's got an improvement to lower body, so he became pretty much unstoppable in this pose. He beats Big Ramy here in my opinion. Back double biceps, and this will be tough to judge. Arnold has the way better lat insertions even before the Photoshop work. But let's talk only what we have in front of us here. What I see is Arnold being more balanced downstairs, having the calves at the same level as his glutes and hams, where Big Ramy, even though he's winning the glute ham department, his balance is thrown off by his lacking calves. Upper body, Ramy is winning the traps and he looks to be wider but loses the low lats and the lower back. Arnold also has the better buys, so overall I would give this pose to him. Next is the rear lat spread, and just like in the front lat spread, Big Ramy spreads his wings way more than Arnold, and combined with his wider structure give him an important advantage. Arnold in this peak looks great, both upper body and lower body, he wins the calves and the low lat thickness, but Big Ramy wins everything else in this pose in my opinion, so he has to win the pose overall. Side triceps is next. Obviously Ramy wins the lower half again from the side, that's not too much you can do against that side leg. However, this is the side triceps, not the side leg, right guys? And judging by the triceps, Arnold is better, he's also got a better midsection and chest, his lower body looks good as well, He's got the glute striations and overall size to not get destroyed by Ramy, even though he definitely loses the lower half. I value the triceps the most in this pose, and combined with the fact that Arnold doesn't seem to have any obvious weaknesses here, he wins this pose. Up next is the abs and thighs, and this is a tough one, guys. Big Ramy obviously wins the thighs and upper body. It may seem that Ramy is less aesthetic, but I don't think that's the case. Arnold had a pretty wide midsection, but he would always know how to pose around his weaknesses. That's what set him apart from his opposition. Arnold has the better execution, and even though this is not the most conventional way of hitting this pose, when I'm looking at these two shots, my eyes are drawn more to him. But this is men's open bodybuilding, and this is the abs and thighs. For me, Ramy has the better abs and the better thighs, so he has to win this pose. Last pose is the most muscular. Arnold was already impressive in this pose due to his crazy chest and arms, but this mutant Arnold is on a different level, a level beyond Big Ramy as well in my opinion. It's true, Ramy is wider, but he's also holding the pose differently, which gives him more width. But those guns, shoulders and traps of Arnold are just something else, and combined with that unmatched chest, it's enough for him to run away with this pose in my opinion. What do you guys think? In conclusion, Arnold wins 5 poses to 3. He's got the front double biceps, the side chest pose, the back double biceps, the side triceps pose, and the most muscular, while Big Ramy won the front lat spread, the rear lat spread, and the abs and thighs. Like I mentioned in the beginning, this is only for pure entertainment because we're talking Photoshopped Mass Monster Arnold, and in the spirit of entertainment, I'm challenging my good friend Mark's Max Muscle to do a Mass Monster Arnold comparison. I'll be sending him the Mass Monster Arnold pics. Big Ramy is defeated. Who's next, Mark? Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe so you won't miss any of my new uploads, and as always, thank you guys and see you next time.